So people are now actually putting out their Forbidden Limited List predictions. Now, I'm going to be bringing mine today. I'm recording this probably the same day I have uploaded it on January 31st. But before we get into it, I have two stipulations for this Forbidden Limited List. Now, if it is a secret rare, it won't be on my predictions, as it can only be hit after 3 total ban lists, and things like Primeval Planet Perlino has only been around for a total of 2 ban lists so far. Plus, we also do have tier limit support coming in Photon Hypernova that releases next week for sneak peek, I believe. And the other one is via leaks, because we do have OTS 21 leaks of Ultimate Rare Reno Heart, Sprite Elf, and Kashtira Unicorn. So those 3 cards will be excluded. I've also done some conductive reasoning for a few of these, where things like all the Ishizu cards are fair game, since they've only been around since November, if I remember correctly, but they are a prominent force into the metagame. First off, we have the banned section. The only card that I have predicted to be banned is Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Now, Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds is really one of the only cards that I see getting banned currently, but in the future, there will be definitely more to ban. This card is not only in Floowandereeze, you can also play it in Kashtira with Raid Raptor, Arsenal Falcon to summon it out. So it is definitely going to be a prominent threat for decks like that. So if you have a Unicorn, I suggest playing it just in case, since it definitely gets around Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. If not, you get the normal summon and smash into it. But now let's get into the limited cards. Now, there are quite a bit of limited cards. And first off, we have Blaster, Dragon Ruler of the Invernos. Blaster has been sitting on the ban list ever since it was banned back in 2014. And really, the Dragon Rulers have outlived their prime. They have grown to power creep super badly, and they aren't really functional how they used to be. Sure, you have Redox and Tempest and Tidal, but Tempest has been off the list since 2019, I believe, and it really hasn't been doing much. Outside of that, with the new Fire Duelist pack, and there's going to be a special 25th anniversary print of a card in there, I really think it's going to be Blaster, because they can't let that decision go past them. It was an influential card back in 2013. It's still a very influential card. Other than that, that is very useful. Now, I'm going to be getting into things that are not part of the tier limit stuff that there is. We have Orcust Harpor. This is one of the cards that I really want to come back to 1 or even to 3, because this card is really, really, really good. But in Orcust has been power crept like crazy, and it would still be actual terrible, since we have so many things that counter, like the new Bestials that everyone's running at least up to 9 copies about, with 3 Magnemite, 2 Druisworm, 1 Serenir, and 1 Baldrake coming soon, maybe 1 Lubellion as well. But other than that, Orcust Harport, it is one of the decks I love, and I really want to see it get something back. And outside of the meta cards, we have Ancient Fairy Dragon coming back, with its errata coming out probably in Maze of Memory, as that will be amazing to see and what people could do with this. But outside of those 3, let's get into the meta cards. As you can see, there's Kelbeck, Keldo, and Medora, 2 shufflers and one of the best millers that there is. Being able to mill 5 is very, very strong, especially in tier elements. Being able to shuffle back anything as an interruption or to trigger multiple effects is really stupid too. So I've opted into hitting 3 of the 4 cards and leaving Agito at 3 to see how things will go. But also I'm hitting other cards in the tier elements deck, as you can see. Sharon, Merly, and Kitkallos. Now, out of these 3, these were the most really the ones that I think would get hit. Cheiron, because she is a starter, and a combo extender if you really think about it, Merely being the absolute best starter, best card to summon off of Sprite Elf, and best card to send off of Sprite Sprint. This card is really broken, and I definitely see it might get banned in the future. Following with Kitkallos. Now, Kitkallos is one of these cards that is super broken. As post Photon Hypernova, people are going to have to run 2, all because the new Kishtira threat. This card going down to 1 really hurts potential plays that you do have with Tearlament if it gets banished to face down. Or face up in that matter, because you're going to have to run things like Tearlament's Crime again to recycle it back into the extra deck. And I don't feel like people are willing to do so, so they might swap over to King of the Swamp, but who knows? But with how that is, I feel like that they're just going to do a slap on the wrist for the Tearlament cards, hit the Shizu cards heavily, and the final card in the limited section being Sprite Jet. Sprite Jet is one of the most powerful sprite monsters in the whole game, being able to search out and tutor multiple cards being Sprite Starter, Smasher, Double Cross. Putting it down to 1 definitely hinders deck's abilities to splash as a small Sprite engine, because this card pretty much gets it all. It's a additional copy of Starter, which is an additional copy of Blue, so essentially you're running 9 blues in the whole deck if you are maxing out on Jet, Blue, and Starter. It is the second, third, and fourth copy of Sprite Smashers, which is very powerful and such a great utility card. Other than that, those are the limits. I will answer questions down in the comments below if anyone has any. But we're going to be going on to the semi-limited cards, and there's only cards coming off the list. We have Gen X Ally Birdman. Since things like Halqifibrax are gone, I feel like this card was just chained up for no reason. And that Ancient Fairy Dragon is also errated. This loop is no longer really viable. You still have Gallus, FDK, and all of that, but in my opinion, Birdman is a really strong but outdated card. Sure, people will play it, but in certain scenarios, I don't see it getting much play. After that, you have Lunalight Tiger. I think they forgot about this card. Same with Yada. Same with Draco Face Off. I feel like the limited section just has a lot of cards that are just forgotten, in my opinion. And you have things like Lunalight Tiger, Gen X Ally Birdman, Yatagarasu, and Draco Face Off all just laying there at 1, and they really haven't been doing anything. Last time that we saw Lunalight Tiger play was back in Tearlament, early Tearlament format, right before our October ban list, which was Lunalight Tearlament, but that's one of the uniquest builds ever now, because we have Ishizu and Bestial cards. It's a unique concept, but I definitely think Lunalight Tiger could go to 2, maybe 3. And Spellbook of Judgment, because this card has done nothing. I mean, I think Prophecies has like 1 or 2 tops. Outside of that, we really haven't seen Spellbook of Judgment at all. It recently went to 2 in Master Duels, so that's one thing to speculate about. That OCG and TCG are probably going to be moving it to 2 or to 3 later on. And finally, TG Hyper Librarian. I feel like this is a scapegoat for Konami, because it was at 3 for a while. Then they hit it down to 1 with the Master Duel changes. Same thing with Trishula, same thing with Toad and ABC Buster Dragon. They all went down to 1 because they were scared, and now all but this one remain on the limited section. This card could come back because the extra deck is super tight, and I don't think people will definitely make room for 2, maybe 3 copies, because that's a lot of space for synchro decks nowadays, and in my opinion, definitely one thing to note. So those are the semi-limits, and I only have 1 limited card along like Forbidden, which is Lunalight Recitals Starling. Now, Recitals Starling is one of those cards that went to 1 because of what happened with Tri-Brigade and Bird Up. And Then they banned Samorg and limited this card for no reason. Banning Samorg was actually a very wise choice from Konami because it also got rid of Barrier's Statue of the Stormwinds. I could have had Samorg going to 1 because it's really only utilizes itself by summoning out things like Apex Avian or even Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. But if you get rid of Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, I feel like Samorg could come back, but that will be solved within time. But I hope you guys did enjoy my ban list predictions, and I want to know what you guys think. Was there anything that I missed? Because I see them just lightly tapping tier limits enough where they have to adapt, but also hitting spray a little like super light, while tier limits get the heavy of the hits, where we're still in a tier 0 format. Even if results are dwindling because people are dropping tier elements to play other things because the deck is so boring. I could say this after playing it in a 5-round event. It is one of the most boring decks to pilot, but is really skillful to play if things go correctly. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider, and I hope you guys did enjoy, and see you guys in the next video.